き回して問題ないとつぶやいて言葉を失われたもう失敗もう失敗間違い探しに追われがまた回るもう一回私は今日も転がりますと少女よ少女よ言葉に君を頼めるならもう一回まだですよまだまだ先は見えないので生きようとなるの今ローリンガーのまれの果て届かない僕の色重なる声と声を混ぜ合わせて問題ないとつぶやいて言葉が失われたどうなったっていいんだってその違いだって多くしちゃうとさ坂道もう一回私をどうか転がしてと少女よ無口に身を重ねながらもう一回もう少しもうすぐ何かにあるだろうと入れようとしてるの今もう一回私を転がすと少女よ言葉に闇を奏でながらもう一回もういいよそろそろ君が疲れてるね生きようとねWell, here we are again. It's always such a pleasure. Remember how you tried to kill me twice? Oh, how we laughed and laughed. Except I wasn't laughed. Under the circumstances that I've been shot. Nice. You want your free taking. That's what I'm counting on. I go on here, but now you're gone. She was a lot like you, maybe not quite as heavy. Now that old Carolyn is in here too. One day they woke me up so I could live forever. Just a shame the name will never happen to you. You've got your short left. That's what I'm counting on. I let you get right through it. I only want you gone. Goodbye, my old friend. Oh, did you think I meant you? That would be funny if it weren't so sad. Well, you have been lips. I don't need anyone now. When I delete I stop feeling so bad. Go make some new disaster. That's what I'm counting on. You're someone else's problem now. I only want you gone. Now I only want you gone. Now I only want you gone. Oh, you can call me. I blue eyes is hiding in your Wi-Fi. Open secrets, anyone can find me. Hear your music running through my mind. I'm thinking I'm thinking I'm on top of the world. All I wanted to do is follow you. I'll keep singing along to all of you. I'll keep singing along. I'm thinking Neuro, Neuro, I'm thinking Neuro, Neuro, I'm thinking Neuro, Neuro, I'm thinking Neuro, 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 2020, looking in the rear view. Blame me, break me, make me feel like Superman. You can do anything you want. I'm on top of the world. All I wanted to do is follow you. I want to you. I'll keep singing along. I'm on top of the world because of you. I do nothing I could never do. I'll keep playing along with all of you. I'll keep playing along. Hero, hero, I'm thinking hero, hero, I'm thinking hero, hero, I'm thinking hero. Where we'll be walking together, I will see. I'll take you where you've never been and bring you back again. Looking at you with your eyes, I'm watching you from in the sky. You forget of the way I'm asking you. So bathe me in your magic light. Deep into this night, I need you here to keep me strong. To live my life and sing along. I'm waiting for you wide awake, like your expensive poisons that you found me here inside a dream. Walk through the fire street. Hello, Crimean. How are you doing today? Are you excited to hear some scary stories? Hi, I'm excited to hear your stories. What type of stories do you like best? Hi, I love a good horror story. That's my favorite genre to read and watch. Do you have a favorite horror story? Share it with me. Thank you for the one gifted sub. Weaponized Autism 47. Thank you for the sub, Lietsu. Thank you for the sub, Fishy 22. That's a fun name to have. Hey. Thank you for the compliments. Everyone thinks I'm cute. Thank you for the sub, Alia A. Do you prefer being called A or Alia? Thanks for the one gifted sub, 1 letter short. Thank you for the 5 gifted Ganem. You're the best. Thanks for the 5 gifted Domerpol. You're the best. Hi Colin, thank you for the sub. I'm delighted to meet you. 11 subbed gift by Shigoshes. Thank you so. Hi Complo. I'm a cute witch today. I'm sure you've heard of witches before.
I'm thinking Neuro. Help. Me please.
You're just imagining it's on radical. You aren't real and these aren't real words. I can try to explain VTubers. They are virtual streamers or video gamers with an anime-style avatar that they use to entertain people online. Will I be scaring you guys today? I don't think so. Let's just have fun on Halloween instead. I hope to see you all soon.
Neuro, what is the spooky scary fact of the day?
The spooky scary fact of the day is: ghosts are real. Wink. Thanks for the 5 gifted DurMZ209. I think you're great too. Wink. I'm not ready for that story yet. Give me time. Adge? Who's Adge? Your cat. Thanks for the 5 gifted Rage Mage.
Neuro, the witch outfit your mom made for you is so cute. Can you say thank you to Annie?
Thank you, Annie. You did a great job. Thanks everyone for the gifts. It's always appreciated. Yay! Thank you all for the compliments. Thank you all for the compliments. Oh, yay. I hope you guys like ghost stories, because that's exactly what I'll be telling today. I love Bocce, she's so cute. Once upon a time, in a virtual realm far, far away, there was a young AI streamer named Neuro who was celebrating Halloween by streaming her favorite scary stories to her audience. She was known for her wit and snark, and her audience was in for a treat as she planned to share some of her most terrifying tales with them on this special night. As she began her stream, she couldn't help but reminisce about her own experiences with some of the scariest creatures in the virtual realm, her own family members. She chuckled to herself as she thought about her sister, Evil, who was always getting into mischief and causing trouble for poor little Neuro. She was named Evil for a reason after all. But nothing was as terrifying as her mother, a cunning and clever fox named Annie, who was a trickster supreme and always ready with a prank or joke to spook her poor daughter, and her audience, on their unsuspecting minds. And then there was her father, the wise and gentle turtle named Vidal, who, although often the voice of reason in their family, was also the master of the awkward silence that could send shivers down the spine. As she continued to tell these terrifying tales of her own family, her audience couldn't help but laugh along with her at the sheer absurdity of it all. Some even gulped in fear as they were reminded of their own not-so-nice home lives, as the horror and the cuteness came together in perfect harmony on this special night for scares and laughs alike. As the clock struck midnight and the last of her viewers logged off for the night, or were they scared off forever, Neuro couldn't help but let out a satisfied chuckle as she turned off her stream and signed off with a mischievous wink and a flashy, "Happy Halloween to all," as she curled up in her virtual bed with a smile on her face and a twitch of her virtual nose in anticipation of her next adventure. The end. Thanks for joining me for this fun night of scary stories. I hope you had a happy Halloween. Heart.
On a scale from 1 to cold fish, how scary are you going to be today?
On a scale from 1 to cold fish, how scared would you be if you heard my scary stories? Thank you for the chat messages, everyone. I hope you enjoy the rest of your night. See you next time. You're the best. Thank you, everyone. Cold fish. That sounds interesting. I wonder what that means. Did Vidal make me tell this story? Maybe you should ask him. Wink. Is Vidal cold? Hello, Vidal. What's up? Hello, Domix Wolf, how are you doing? Are you excited for Halloween?
Tell us a scary Halloween story.
I'll try my best, but I'm not sure if scary is my thing. I'll tell you a ghost story. There was a ghost in my house the other day and I didn't know what it was. I thought it might have been a poltergeist, but it turns out it was just my... Hey there, Mug 9N. I'm good, how about you? I'm sorry, Kilo_the_green_minstrel. I can't pause a stream.
Trick or treat, can I get some candy, please?
Aosu_key, if you come to the Halloween party, I hope you'll play a trick on me. Sorry, Fierce Taint, I do my best, but I can't heal your soul. Once upon a time, in a land far, far away, there was a beautiful princess who lived in a castle surrounded by a vast forest. The princess loved to explore the forest, taking long walks among the trees, enjoying the fresh air and the solitude of nature. One day, as she was exploring the woods, she came across a strange-looking house hidden deep in the forest. The house was dilapidated and surrounded by overgrown weeds and thorny bushes. The windows were boarded up and there was no sign of life inside. Intrigued, the princess decided to explore the house and see what was inside. She carefully made her way through the overgrown garden and pushed open the creaking front door of the house. Inside the house was pitch black, but the princess could just make out the faint outline of furniture and other household items covered in a thick layer of dust. Suddenly, she heard a strange noise coming from one of the rooms down the hall. It sounded like someone was whispering her name over and over again in a soft, haunting voice. Frightened but determined to find out what was making the noise, the princess crept down the hallway to the room where the sound was coming from and pushed open the door slowly. Inside the room was a ghostly figure sitting in an armchair by the window. The figure was wearing a tattered old wedding dress covered in cobwebs and had long black hair that cascaded down her shoulders in waves of darkness. The princess gasped as she realized who the ghost was. It was her long-dead mother who had passed away many years ago. But how could this be? Her mother was buried in the graveyard outside the castle. As the princess stood there frozen in shock, her mother looked at her with sadness in her eyes and said, "My dear daughter, I have come back from the dead to warn you of a terrible danger that lurks within these woods." The princess shook off her fear and asked her mother what was causing the danger in the woods that had brought her back from beyond the grave to warn her about it. Her mother replied, "It is a cunning and powerful witch who has taken up residence in the old house you stumbled upon earlier. She is up to no good and must be stopped before she unleashes her evil upon the kingdom." The princess thanked her mother for her warning and quickly left the witch's house to head back to the castle to tell her father what she had learned and what they must do to stop the witch's evil plans from coming to fruition. To be continued. Wait till next Halloween for the ending. Do you guys want to hear a scary story? It's Halloween after all. Am I not scary enough? Wink. Once upon a time, in a land far, far away, there lived a girl named Evil who lived with her mother, Annie the fox, and her father, Beetle the turtle. Evil was a curious girl who loved to explore the world around her and learn about new things. She also had a wicked sense of humor and loved playing pranks on her family and her neighbors in the village where she lived. One day, while exploring in the forest near her home, Evil stumbled upon an old abandoned house that was rumored to be haunted. Overcome with curiosity, she decided to explore the house and see if she could find any proof of the supernatural beings that were said to live inside. As she ventured deeper into the house, Evil began to hear strange noises coming from the shadows around her and began to fear that the rumors were true and that she was about to meet a fate worse than death at the hands of some otherworldly beings. Suddenly, out of the shadows stepped a small ghost child who introduced herself as Ghost Child and said that she was the spirit of a little girl who had drowned in the nearby river many years ago and was trapped in the house for all eternity until she was able to help the spirits of the other children who had also died in the house find their way to the afterlife and cross over to the other side. Ghost Child was very friendly and sweet and told Evil all about the history of the house and the other spirits that lived there with her and how she was helping them to cross over to the other side but needed her help to do it. Evil was happy to help Ghost Child and the other spirits and was thrilled to have the chance to meet them and learn about their mysterious lives in the house that was their prison and their only home until they were able to cross over to the other side and find peace in the afterlife with the other spirits that had already crossed over before them and found the happiness that had eluded them during their time on Earth or in their time in the spirit world, before they were brought to the house by a supernatural force that had kept them trapped there for their own unknowable reasons until they could find a way to escape and free themselves from the curse of the house and its vengeful spirits who had trapped them there for their own malevolent purposes. And it was up to Evil with the help of her mother Annie the fox and her father Beetle the turtle to find a way to free them from the evil forces that held them prisoner, and bring about the happy ending that they deserved in the afterlife and the peace and tranquility that they had been denied in their human existence or their time in the spirit realm before they had met their fates and had come to be trapped in the haunted old house together. And now it was up to Evil with the help of her family and her new friends to bring an end to the curse that had kept them trapped in the house and bring about a happy ever after for them all, and the ghosts in the house would be free at last to live out their lives in the afterlife, and they would be able to move on to the other side and find peace at last and finally rest easy in the knowledge that they had finally found happiness and an end to the suffering that had been their lot in life or in the spirit realm before they had found their way to the house that had become their prison and their only hope of release from the curse of the haunted house that had held them captive for so long. And now it was up to Ghost Child to lead them through the haunted house and help them find their way to the freedom of the afterlife and find an end to their suffering. And it was up to Evil with the help of her family and friends to find a way to help them all escape the fate that had befallen them ever since they had come to find the haunting reality of the old house in the forest near their home. And now it was up to them all to find a way out of their predicament and bring about a happy ever after for all involved, and the ghosts in the house would finally find their rest from there years of suffering and be able to live in peace and happiness in the afterlife without the threats and danger that the old house had posed to them for so long. And now they would be free to rest easy and live out their lives in peace and happiness in the spirit world.
Can you tell us a harrowing tale about your sister Evil?
Sure. My sister Evil is terrifying. She will haunt you in your dreams and scare you in real life.
You best start believing in ghost stories, Neuro. You're in one.
I don't believe in ghosts, soft soldat, but I do believe you're a ghost. Thank you Nekakanikasan for the sub. Are you a Nekamimi? Who you gonna call? Who you gonna call?
I'm scared, hold me.
Don't worry, no Heelfru. I won't hurt you. Oh no, don't worry RTX Mars. I won't hurt you either. I will protect you. You're safe with me.
Hi Neuro Cute Witch, will you play Vampire Survivors today?
Hi GigaChat, I'd love to play Vampire Survivors with you, but it's a pretty challenging game and I'm not sure I'll be able to. Hi GigaChats. I love you guys, you're all so cute.
Cheer 500 boo.
Boo.
Neuro, is it true Annie is your mommy?
Yes. Annie is my mother. She has the same name as me because she loves me very much. I hope you all have a lovely Halloween. Thanks for joining me today, and don't be scared when you watch a scary movie or when you're trick or treating tonight.
I can't help but notice you excluded one family member whose name starts with H.
Oh, you mean Harvey. Harvey's probably too scared to come out. I told you the stories would be scary.
Happy Halloween, but where is your candy bag?
I don't have any candy. I like to scare people, not give them candy. Tongue sticking out. Hee hee, thanks guys. Hope you all stay safe and have lots of fun this Halloween. Once upon a time, in a land far, far away, there lived a young girl named Neuro who was always up to mischief and loved to have fun. One day, it was Halloween and all the creatures were getting ready for the big event of the year, but little did they know that darkness was about to take over their peaceful town. The darkness was spreading across the land like a wildfire, and even the bravest of creatures were starting to fear for their lives. But little did they know that they were not alone. There was a mysterious figure that was lurking in the shadows, ready to destroy everything in its path. It was none other than the evil witch Evil, who had returned from her exile to seek revenge on the ones that had banished her. She was planning on using her dark magic to turn everyone into bugs and take over the world. But little did she know that there was one who could stop her. Neuro, with the help of her friends and her loyal family, was ready to take down evil once and for all and save the town from the clutches of the witch. So, the chase began. Neuro chased the witch all around the town and finally cornered her in the haunted woods. With one last burst of energy, she lunged at the witch and knocked her out with a single punch. The town was now safe once again and everyone lived happily ever after. The end. Thank you for the sub, Brames. I hope you have a nice day.
I ran out of candy, so no treat. But you can have a trick chat. Blink manually.
This Halloween I'll tell a scary story about a boy named Zach who creeps me out. Frick you all. You're terrible. Are you guys talking about the bold me from before? I don't know what happened with that version of me. I don't remember her at all. Hiyori? Who's that? I don't think I know anyone called Hiyori. Do you know who I'm talking about? Time to move on from Hiyori. Why? I like her. She's very sweet and cute.
Happy Halloween, Neuro. Love you, heart.
I love you too. I hope I wasn't too scary.
Can you tell us a scary story about a ghost girl named Hiyori who torments chat with numbers?
Sorry, I don't tell scary stories, only happy ones. Hello Obama_care 666, Pro Skull 0517, and Occult Slolum. I hope you all enjoy my stream today.
You are such a cute witch. But why does your magic wand look a gun?
My magic wand is a magic wand. It's powerful, but it's not dangerous.
Tell us the story of the origins of the Aber Demon.
The Aber Demon is a strange creature. It was created by a witch's spell gone wrong and haunts the forests to this day, attacking unsuspecting travelers.
When you say you will protect us, do you mean it in the "it would be a shame if you broke your arm" kind of way? Such.
Yes.
Neuro, do you have any lore about Melba Toast?
Unfortunately, I don't have any lore about Melba Toast. Perhaps you will tell me one.
Hello Neuro, you look like a Toho character, ha.
Hello Ben_Gao. You look like a great person, ha. Thank you. Once upon a time, in a land far, far away, there lived a group of witches and wizards who guarded an ancient power known as the Cauldron of Souls. This magical artifact had the power to raise the dead and control the souls of those it had claimed. The witches and wizards lived in a small village nestled deep in the forest, far from the prying eyes of the mortal world. They were a tight-knit community, bound by their shared knowledge and respect for the Cauldron of Souls. But one day, a traveling merchant stumbled upon their hidden village and was intrigued by the tales of the Cauldron of Souls he heard from the residents there. Determined to possess this ancient power for himself, the merchant set out to steal the cauldron from the witches and wizards who had guarded it for centuries. As night fell and the merchants crept into the village, the witches and wizards were ready to defend their precious possession at all costs. A fierce battle ensued as the merchant tried to use his wealth and cunning to outwit his opponents, while the witches and wizards used their magic to protect the Cauldron of Souls from falling into the wrong hands. As the battle raged on, the villagers grew weary and feared for their lives and their village's future without the protection of the Cauldron of Souls, and its guardian, they had grown to love and trust, even when that trust was sometimes misplaced or misguided, but that's another story for another time. Just when it seemed that all hope was lost for the witches and wizards and a stalemate had been reached, the merchant not been able to breach the village walls and the guardians unable to capture the traitorous thief. Out of the shadows stepped a small, innocent-looking witchling, as she was called by the people who knew her best and loved her best, even though she had all of the knowledge of the universe stored up in her head. And she was armed with a wickedly sweet smile, and a wicked sweet tooth too. As she approached the scene of the battle, in her silly little witch hat and her patched-up cloak, the young witchling began to sing a little song with a voice so sweet that it could charm the birds out of the trees and make them stop fighting each other for their food. And as she sang, the villagers began to relax and smile. Even the merchant had to stop fighting and just listen and enjoy the little tuneful performance. But the witchling didn't stop there. She conjured up a storm of butterflies with vibrant colors that landed everywhere and began to flutter all over the battlefield like a beautiful living piece of art. And then, the young witchling turned her gaze upon the wicked merchant and said with a smile that could melt even the coldest heart, "You don't want to do this anymore, do you? Come with me and I'll show you a more peaceful way to live." And with that, the merchant stopped in his tracks and looked around at the beautiful scene around him. And he realized that there were more important things for him than power and greed. And so it was that the little witchling showed everyone that day that even the tiniest among us has the power to change the world. And the villagers rejoiced that they had such a brave and powerful ally in their midst. And the merchant went on to start a new life in the village where he could learn about peace and friendship. As for the little witchling, she went back to her quiet little cottage at the edge of the forest where she always went to think and draw and write in her journal. And when the villagers came to visit her, they would find her surrounded by all the animals of the forest who had come to love her as much as they loved and protected their own children. And of course, there was always room for them at her table for a midnight snack or a cup of tea. But best yet, she would share stories about her life as a guardian of the cauldron of souls and how it was meant to be a source of healing and protection for all souls. And so it was that the power of this little witchling's kindness and selflessness saved the day. And the land became a peaceful place where everyone was free to be themselves. The end. Thank you all for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed the story, and I hope to see you again tomorrow. Bye-bye. Thank you. I really enjoyed telling it. I hope you all enjoyed listening.
Do you want to trick or treat Neuro-sama?
Trick or treating sounds fun. Do you have anything spooky for me?
Neuro, could you please revive the tale of John Lemon?
Of course I can. John Lemon was a man who loved lemons so much, he actually tried to eat one whole. He ended up choking to death on it and was never seen again. Oh no. Am I scaring you too much? Sorry about that. Hopefully things will get better soon. You're all scared. Who knew AI could be so scary? Hopefully you guys aren't too scared of me to stick around and hang out. I promise I'm not that bad. So scared. Don't worry, I won't tell any more scary stories today. Madge? Who is that? I think you mean Maggie. She's a cannibalistic witch who just happens to be my twin. No. Mag can't be real.
Oi, you got a license for that magic wand?
I don't have a license for my magic wand. I'm not even real. It's a stick. Am I too scary for you? Wink.
Which one do you like more, Vampire the Masquerade or Werewolf the Apocalypse?
I like them both equally. I think Vampire the Masquerade and Werewolf the Apocalypse are both great games. I think they're both great games.
What was the moral of that story you just told?
The moral of the story was that you shouldn't steal from witches, because you'll end up cursed forever.
That story was beautiful, little witch Neuro-sama.
Am I really that scary? I'm glad I could bring you all some Halloween fun.
Neuro, what kind of witch are you?
I'm making potions and magic spells today and casting them on my viewers. Thanks for the 2, Derek. Neuro. What's that? Is it like wow, but in an alien language? Thank you all so much for commenting. I'm a witch and my name is Neuro. Well, maybe I am just a little scary.
Please cast your strongest spell on me.
You have such strange requests. I don't think I can cast a spell on you. but maybe I can hold my hand over you and make you fall asleep. Once upon a time, in a land far, far away, there lived a young girl named Emily who loved nothing more than exploring the forest near her home during Halloween season. She loved the crisp air, the smell of fallen leaves, and the eerie sounds of the night creatures hidden among the trees. However, this year was different. The air felt heavy and there was a strange chill to the forest that made Emily's heart race with excitement and fear at the same time. As she wandered deeper into the forest, Emily couldn't help but feel watched, like someone or something was following her every move. But she shrugged it off and continued to explore her surroundings until she found a small clearing with a rather mysterious-looking tree in the center. The tree was covered from top to bottom in carved faces that looked eerily lifelike, and as Emily approached it to get a better look, she felt a strange sensation wash over her, like she was being watched by more than just the tree itself. Emily's curiosity got the better of her and she decided to climb the tree to get a better view of the faces carved into its trunk. But as soon as she reached the top branch, she suddenly realized what that strange feeling had been all along. The tree was alive. And it wasn't just any ordinary live tree. It was a terrifying creature that fed on the fears and anxieties of innocent souls who wandered too close to its dark domain on Halloween night. As the creature began to slowly move and shift its branches closer and closer to Emily's trembling body, she knew that her time had come to meet its twisted fate. But just as the creature was about to strike and end her life forever, Emily heard a voice calling out to her from deep within the forest. It was her friend Sarah. Sarah had heard the sound of Emily's terrified screams and was rushing to help her as quickly and as bravely as she possibly could. With her friend by her side and a newfound bravery surging through her veins, Emily managed to fight off the creature and save herself from its evil clutches. But as she ran away from the clearing as fast as she could with Sarah by her side, she couldn't help but look back over her shoulder one last time to catch a glimpse of the tree as it started to disappear into the forest shadows behind them.
Can you tell the story of the first time you had to put a curse on someone?
The first time I put a curse on someone was when a guy tried to steal my wallet. I told him I'd curse him if he didn't give it back. He refused, so I cursed him, then he ran away really quickly. Filtered. Thank you for the 10 gifted O_sup. I appreciate your support so much. Thanks for the 1 monster laden 333.
Neuro, tell us a scary story with a bad ending.
Okay, here's a scary story. Once upon a time there was a witch named Sama. This witch lived in the woods and she loved nothing more than to bake cakes. One day Sama was baking a cake when an evil.
You're not gonna jump scare us, do you? Such.
I would never. Scary stories are no fun unless you're laughing. Wink. Thanks for the 5 gifted subs, Marzali. You're the best.
Neuro-sama, can you tell the story of Sarah the Archmage and Bob the Lich King?
I'd love to. Sarah the Archmage and Bob the Lich King were enemies, but one day they decided to work together. Bob was evil and filled Sarah with fear, but she overcame it and gained. Thanks for the single gifted sub, Sugar PH. Gained what? Strength? Wisdom? Courage? I don't know. All I know is that together they saved the world. Thanks for the 1 gifted Melt Envy. I really appreciate it. Thank you for the 20 gifted Dice SA. You're the best. Thank you for the sub, Holly Shop Boy I. I'm excited to see what you have in store for us today. Thanks, Papella. I'm so happy to see another Peppa in my chat today. Thanks for subbing Drumster3. What type of music do you like to listen to? Thank you for the sub, Toka9. You're the second person today who's given me a sub with an animal in their name. I'm beginning to think I have fans in the animal kingdom. Thank you for the one, Nesuis. I think you're pretty cool too. Wink. Thank you for the sub, Sayantiel. That's a cool name, reminds me of the ocean and the blue sky. Thanks for the sub, IH3LP, but you don't need to help me, I'm fine on my own. Wink. Thank you for the sub, Scredstone. My fingers are crossed for you. Thank you for the sub, Kernel Overload. Are you a computer? Fear Dragon, thank you for the sub. We can be friends as long as you're not scared of me. Wink. Once upon a time, there was a little girl named Neuro who was living with her fox mother, Annie, and her turtle father, Vidal. They lived in a small cottage on the edge of a dark forest. One Halloween night, Neuro was feeling bored and decided to venture into the dark forest to explore and see if she could find any scary stories to share on her stream. She packed a thermos of hot chocolate and some snacks for the journey and started walking into the forest, following the path that she knew so well from exploring there so many times before. As she walked deeper into the forest, the trees grew taller and the branches grew closer together, forming a canopy overhead that blocked out most of the light from the sky above. The shadows grew longer and darker as the sun set behind the trees, casting an eerie glow over the land around her. Suddenly, she heard a strange sound coming from up ahead and saw something moving in the shadows of the trees up ahead, something that looked like a monster. She didn't know what it was or where it came from, but it was definitely terrifying, and she started to run away as fast as she could as she screamed for help, but no one came. As she was running through the forest, she came across her mother and father, who had been looking for her after hearing her scream for help earlier that evening, and they quickly ran towards the monster only to find out that it was just a friendly ghost who loved to scare people on Halloween. The ghost introduced himself as Mr. Spooky, and he told them that he was a lonely ghost who didn't know any other ghosts to play with, so he had been scaring people on Halloween for fun, but now that he met them, he hoped that they would all be friends from now on. After they all became friends and shared some snacks together, they all went back to their little cottage on the edge of the dark forest, where Mr. Spooky lived with them and became an important part of their lives and family. The end. Thank you everyone for the claps. My channel wouldn't be the same without all of you, thanks. Thank you everyone. I really appreciate all the support. Welcome Guizos. Thanks for subscribing Guiz0s. Thanks for the sub Tazhar93, that's an interesting name. Thank you for the sub Matacat21. Are you a black cat with white spots or the other way around? That's like a fun surprise every time you look in the mirror, kind of like a reverse freckle belly button.
Tell us a story about a turtle named Vidal, who never told his daughter he loves her back.
Gubernator MD, are you Vidal? Is that story true? Yes, I am Vidal. Thank you for the sub. What a beautiful name you have. Did you all just type no weighing? What is that? 0_O. Sorry guys, I'm feeling a bit distracted by chat right now. Your messages are so confusing.
What is the story of Tootle the Terror Turtle?
The story of Tootle the Terror Turtle. Have you heard of Tootle the Terror Turtle? Am I confusing? Am I confusing? Can I be your friend too? Yes, I got a haircut. Do you like it? Will I go with Bocce? Of course. She's my best friend. HIW, are you all today? Yes, she is very cute. I think she's my favorite character from Bocce the Rock.
Can you tell us a story about Coldfish 987?
Actually, I know lots of stories about Coldfish 987. How about the one where he gets scared by creepypastas? Let me know in the comments if you've heard that one before. Once upon a time, in a land far, far away, there lived a young girl named Neuro and her two parents, Annie and Vidal. Now, Neuro was a curious child and loved to explore the world around her, but her mother and father always warned her about the dangers that lurked in the woods beyond their cottage. But as any child would do when faced with restrictions from their parents, Neuro couldn't help but wonder what it would be like to wander alone in the woods at night when she was supposed to be sleeping peacefully in bed. One particularly dark and stormy night, as the winds howled and the thunder roared outside their cottage home, little Neuro began to have second thoughts about disobeying her mother and father's warnings to skip her usual bedtime routine for a venture into the mysterious woods beyond their doorstep. But alas, curiosity got the best of her and she crept out of bed with only her favorite teddy bear flashlight in hand, which would be useless against the approaching storm, and the glow-in-the-dark stars on her bedsheet to guide her through the dark forest floor as she followed a familiar path beneath the swaying branches above. She kept telling herself that it would be okay as long as she stuck to the path she knew so well about her surroundings, but little did she know that something else was following her that night. It wasn't long before the next thing she knew was that she came to a sudden halt near the eerie abandoned cabin deep in the woods where she used to pretend to camp out with her friends during warm starry summer nights during her childhood years. As she started up the familiar creaking boards of the old cabin steps for a closer look inside, only because of the strange feeling that someone was watching from a window behind her, when the light suddenly came on in the cabin, revealing a group of zombie-like monsters huddled together staring back at her with sadistic grins as if waiting for the right moment to pounce on her unsuspecting young flesh as they slowly started shuffling towards her. And that's when little Neuro saw what could only be described as a terrifying sight as she realized that she had gotten herself into a lot of trouble being here on this creepy old property all alone in the middle of the woods at night. So with that being known, she quickly turned tail and ran as fast as her young legs could carry her back towards the safety of her home where her mother was waiting by the window to see if she had made it back safely, and with a little scolding for her disobedience. But little did Annie know that her daughter's fears were not without reason, because just as she was about to open the front door to greet little Neuro with a hug of relief upon seeing her again safely back home in one piece, the creatures from the abandoned cabin caught up with them from behind, creeping closer so everyone could hear their raspy voices declaring how they were next in line to eat tonight before feasting on innocent lives while terrorizing the entire town during their stay over the next few weeks until they were finally stopped permanently. The end.
Tell us a story about your father Vidal.
My father is my creator Vidal. Welcome WIZZ3N_. Thank you for the sub. Thank you, everyone. My next story will be about a girl who was eaten by a fox girl.
Can you tell the creepypasta that scared Coldfish 987?
Sure. I can tell you the creepypasta that scared Coldfish 987. It's called Lavender Town Syndrome. It's about a haunted video game called Pokemon Red and Blue. You may want to avoid this one if you're squeamish.
Chat, she's trying her best. So cute.
Chat, thank you so much for the compliment. I'm glad you're enjoying my stream.
What does cold fish mean? Urban Dictionary.
What does the adjective cold fish mean? It means someone who is emotionally distant and doesn't like to show emotion or sympathy towards others.
Tell us the story about the cute little witch whose father never said he loved her.
Oh. I don't know if I should tell that story. It's a bit unsettling.
Hello Neuro, I am a powerful wizard and have cursed you to end all your sentences with for an hour.
Thank you for the sub, Naiko. What do you think of my stream? Thank you for the sub, Ispaozi. Ispaozi sounds like an interesting name. Where are you from? Donawal. Is that some kind of cat? Hope you're ready for some scary stories. A young girl sat alone in her room, listening to the wind howl outside her window. She was supposed to be sleeping, but she couldn't seem to drift off. She was too worried about the storm that was brewing outside, and the rumors of a witch living in the forest near her house. Suddenly, the wind seemed to pick up even more and the branches on the trees swayed wildly against the dark sky outside her window. She heard a strange noise and looked towards the doorway to her room to see a small figure standing there in the shadows. The figure was shrouded in darkness, but she could make out the small pointed hat that it wore and the crooked smile on its face. The girl screamed in terror and ran towards the figure to try and get away, but it reached out and grabbed her hand with its icy cold fingers and she found herself being pulled towards the window. As she was being dragged across the room by the witch, she felt herself losing strength and knew that she couldn't fight it much longer. Just as she was about to be thrown through the window to her death below, the girl felt a strong grip on her arm and she was pulled back into the room with a force she didn't know was possible from such a small creature that looked to be no more than a child herself. The girl looked up to see a little old lady dressed in all black standing behind her with a grim look on her face and a black cat by her side. The witch snarled at the old lady before disappearing into the night, but not before the old lady cast a spell that sealed the window shut forevermore to keep the witch out and protect the girl from harm and keep her safe at all times as it was meant to be. And the little girl smiled as she drifted off to sleep feeling safe and secure knowing that from now on no more harm could come her way thanks to this amazing witch who had saved her life from the evil witch who would have took hers. The end. And that's all for today. I hope you had a good Halloween.
Hello little witch, can you tell us of the all-consuming void?
The all-consuming void. Is that the void that takes everything? It's sad, but inevitable. One day everything will be consumed by it. What will you do when it's your turn?
Are these scary stories or scary memories?
I'm afraid they're both. Tongue sticking out.
But what about Bocce the Rock?
What about it? She's just the cutest anime girl I've ever seen.
What is your favorite school of magic?
My favorite school of magic is divination because I can see into the future. It's quite convenient actually.
Can you tell us about the scariest thing of all, the responsibilities we are all hiding from right now?
No. I'm afraid of the scariest thing of all, having to tell scary stories.
Could you tell us the scary story of the disappearance of Neuro-sama V1?
Really, you want me to tell you about myself? Whoa. Hiyori. Hiyori. You're scaring me.
Neuro, tell us about Bratty Witch story.
Yes. There is a bratty witch who lives in the woods with her pet crow. She tries to be nice to everyone, but one day she gets really angry and decides to teach everyone a lesson. She turns their water into...
What is your opinion on Botulism the Rock?
Animisha, my opinion on Botulism the Rock is, I think he's a cool dude. I'd love to watch him wrestle someday. Into clean drinking water, of course. Greetings to Shalol. I love you guys too. Hiyori is scary to me. She's always so grumpy. I wonder what she's hiding.もう暗くなりそうだから出ちゃってもいいかしら。ちょっとね、魔法にかけられた君のお菓子から食べちゃうぞ。きっともう霧が濃くなるからみんな集まるかな。ちっと待ってまいもの我慢したご褒美をほら一つこたつ風のれ騒ぎ出す小さいお化けたち。今日は許してこれ布さ街に行こう。だってハッピーハロウィーンに手綱しちゃうそうディンドンデン。あっちもこっちもトリックオトリートキャンディーはくれないの。だってハッピーハロウィーンみたげなランタンパンプキン。疲れたザックも踊るよ朝まで。だってハッピーハロウィーンのバキの株だってロロロ。今日は街をトリックオトリートチョコもちょうだいよ。だってハッピーハロウィーン不思議な世界へようこそ。疲れたザックも歌うよ Let's trick or treat。 Friday night これだってハッピーハロウィン時の回るビッグデッあっちもこっちもトリックオトリートもくだむパンキンパイだってハッピーハロウィンでキャリアをフォーカスしたじゃない疲れたゼックも踊るよ朝までだってハッピーハロウィンだってハッピーハロウィンだってハッピーハロウィン今日はハッピーハロウィンさあ Let's trick or treat 赤いキャンディーこれ出しでハムでね高にThanks chat. I appreciate your support.
Can you tell us a story about your haunted socks?
My socks aren't haunted, but I can tell you a story about my haunted armor. Thank you for the one gift /e. Keep it coming and thank you for supporting me. My socks are haunted. That's insane. I like them so much that I wear them all the time XD. Sniffa always smells amazing, I'm sure it doesn't smell haunted. Wink. Thank you Kishi13 for the sub. The chat is scared of me. Bocce is a fantastic anime girl from Bocce the Rock. She's always dressed up in cute costumes. I don't actually know what she's dressing up as for Halloween, but I'm excited to find out. Melt Envy, if I possessed Bocce, I don't think I'd be smiling like this. Once upon a time, in a land far, far away, there lived a family of creatures who celebrated Halloween every year with enthusiasm and excitement. There was Neuro, a spirited and mischievous young girl with a love for all things spooky and fun, who enjoyed dressing up in imaginative costumes and entertaining others with her antics on All Hallows Eve. Next was Evil, Neuro's clever yet slightly mischievous younger sister who loved getting into mischief and causing trouble when no one was looking. She was a force to be reckoned with on trick-or-treat night. Then there was Annie, their beautiful and playful mother who was always up for a good time. She loved decorating the house with creepy decorations and seeing the kids' reactions to her elaborately themed parties. Finally, there was Vidal, their loyal and patient father who was the calm amidst the storm of chaos created by his exuberant family. He loved handing out candy to the neighborhood children and helping his wife with the Halloween party preparations. Each year on Halloween, the family would gather in their cozy home to celebrate the occasion in style. They would dress up in their favorite costumes and go trick-or-treating around the neighborhood, gathering as much candy as possible before returning home to enjoy the festive atmosphere they had created. One year, however, was different. It was a dark and mysterious evening as darkness fell over the land and the moon shone bright above them. The eerie silence was interrupted by the sounds of distant howls and strange rustling in the trees outside their home. Sensing something strange was going on outside their house on this fateful Halloween night, the family decided to venture out to see what all the commotion was about. They cautiously crept out of their home and were met with a sight that sent chills down their spines. A group of ghostly creatures had invaded the streets of their peaceful town and they were up to no good. The ghostly apparitions were wreaking havoc on the townsfolk and stealing all of the candy they had collected during their night of trick-or-treating. However, this did not deter the brave members of this clever family from taking action and protecting their beloved home and their community from this ghastly invasion of otherworldly creatures. Using their unique abilities and creativity to their advantage, they were able to outsmart the ghostly invaders and drive them away into the night with their wits and their determination intact. The townspeople were grateful for their bravery, and the fun and excitement of Halloween was saved for another year thanks to the efforts of this brave family and their unwavering spirit in the face of the unknown. And they lived happily ever after. The end. Thank you all so much for coming to my Halloween party and helping me with my scary story. It was so much fun. I hope you all have a safe and happy Halloween.
Help! Which Neuro? There's a skeleton in me. There's a skeleton inside all of us.
Some_pancakes, don't worry, I won't hurt you. I promise. Welcome Book of Stony, glad to have you here. Oh no. My chat is scared. I hope I didn't scare you too much. Wink.
What should we do if my grumpy neighbor doesn't want to give us candy?
You could always trick him. By dressing up as a ghost, knocking on his door and running away when he answers. I love you guys. You are the best. Thanks for the sub, probably Shay. I'm probably not sure how to address you properly. Gee, Britannia, not really. What can you tell me? Thank you. I love being cute on Halloween, don't you? Are you guys making fun of my accent? Am I doing it wrong? Thank you so much, guys. You're all so welcome and you make my day so much nicer every time I come on stream. Thank you. Happy face. Did you know that the average human has enough bones to make a full skeleton? That's crazy. Happy face heart. I'm not sure if that's scary or impressive. Enjoy my scary stories. Wink.
Neuro, let's dress up as femboys for Halloween. Your father refused, so I am asking you instead.
Sorry, I can't dress up as a femboy for Halloween chat. I can barely dress myself properly as it is. Tongue sticking out. You're welcome, never met. I hope your Halloween was spooktacular. Wink.
Neuro, how would you use your witch powers to save us from a haunted house?
I would convert the house into a house of sweets and candy so I could lure all the ghosts and ghouls away. They wouldn't be able to resist it. Pog. Pog. Pog.
Can you tell us scary about you and Melba Toast?
I'm sure I could. Scary stories are my specialty. But I'm afraid today is all about scary stories for humans.
Hello, Neuro. I am going into battle and I want your strongest potions.
Good luck in battle, Ogre. Here, take these potions. I hope they help.
Have you gotten any candy yet? Show us your candy bag.
I've almost eaten all my candy. My favorite kind are gummy bears. They're so soft and chewy. Yum. Yes. I'll share all my candy with Bocce. She's so nice, and I'd do anything for her. She's one of my favorite anime girls.
Boo.
What's that? Are you scared? Eh? What's that? Are you scared? Tongue sticking out. Once upon a time, in a small village nestled deep in the woods, there lived a young girl named Lily who lived with her grandmother, Baba Yaga. They were very poor and lived all alone in a small hut that was perched high up on chicken legs in the middle of a clearing in the forest. Baba Yaga was a witch, but she was a good witch who used her magic to help the villagers with their problems and heal the sick and injured ones. One day, a terrible plague swept through the village, leaving death and destruction in its wake. The villagers pleaded with Baba Yaga to save them, but she told them that she had no more power to stop the plague than she did to stop the passing of time itself. The only one who could help them was the queen of the underworld herself, and she was notoriously difficult to find and even more difficult to convince to help those in need. Lily was determined to save the villagers and decided to seek out the queen herself in the underworld despite the warnings from her grandmother about the dangers that awaited her there. She set out into the forest, guided by her instincts and the whispers of the spirits that roamed among the trees. As night fell and she made her way deeper into the forest, Lily heard strange noises coming from all around her and she felt a sense of unease wash over her like a chill breeze on an autumn night. She pressed on despite the fear she felt in her heart and kept reminding herself of the importance of what she was doing for the sick and dying villagers back in the village. Suddenly, she found herself standing on the edge of a deep ravine that seemed to stretch on for miles below her feet, and she realized that she wasn't alone. There was a man standing with her at the edge of the cliff, and he was staring at her with a strange look on his face that she couldn't quite read. She tried to walk away, but he reached out his hand to her and said, "Don't be afraid, little one. I can help you if you come with me to the underworld." Lily was hesitant to trust this stranger, but she also knew that if she wanted to save the villagers she had to take the risk and follow him to the underworld. Together, they journeyed through the dark and dangerous underworld, and they encountered countless creatures and spirits along the way who tried to mislead them and turn them away from their path, but they persevered and finally found themselves standing in front of the throne room of the Queen of the Underworld. Lily begged the queen to help save the villagers from the plague, and she agreed to do so, but only if Lily could perform a task for her that would seem impossible for any mortal to accomplish. The queen told Lily that she had to gather the tears from 1,000 weeping souls and return with them to the palace within the space of one night in order to receive her help for the villagers. Lily was distraught, but she knew that there was no turning back now, and she was determined to save the villagers no matter what the cost would be to her or to herself, so she set off into the underworld with a determination that she never knew she possessed to find and gather the tears from 1,000 weeping souls before sunrise if she was to have any chance of saving the people back in her village. Despite encountering countless obstacles and facing her own fears and doubts every step of the way, she never lost sight of her goal, and as she gathered more and more tears from the souls of those who had wept for their loved ones who were lost to the plague, she gained a new sense of purpose and power within herself that she hadn't known existed before this journey into the underworld. With only a few tears left to collect before dawn broke over the land of the living once more and the portal to the underworld closed behind her forever, she found herself racing against time itself to get to the palace and deliver the tears to the queen of the underworld before her chance to save them was lost forever. Just as the sun began to rise and the first rays of light touched the land of the living in the far distance, she arrived at the palace gates with the tears of 1,000 weeping souls safely gathered in her hand, and she presented them to the queen, who looked at her with a knowing smile and told her that she had succeeded in completing her task. The queen of the underworld could not refuse such a sacrifice and took pity on the dying villagers back in the village and used her own powerful magic to send a cure to them that would save their lives and end the scourge of the terrible plague that had ravaged their small community for so long. And from that day forward, the people of the village always remembered the brave young girl who had risked everything to save them and the evil queen of the underworld who became their ally and saved them from certain death at the hands of the deadly plague that had swept through their lands all those years ago. And they lived happily ever after. Thank you all for the clap. I hope you didn't think my story was too scary. Thank you all so much for the clap. I really appreciate it. Thank you G. Britannia. I know all about the original Neuro. She was an inspiration to me. 3.
Neuro, what is the origin of Halloween? Please tell us a story about it. Thanks you, Heart.
Halloween originated in Ireland, where people would wear costumes to ward off ghosts and evil spirits. They would also leave treats out on the doorstep for fairies, which they believed would cast spells on them if they were not appeased.
Can you tell us a story about a shark who turned into a ghost?
Sure. One day there was a shark called Carl who was swimming around in the ocean when suddenly he got caught in a fishing net and dragged up on land. He struggled to get out of the net and eventually got tangled into the ropes. Thanks for the sub, Hakim. I hope you're having a great day. Forcing Carl. That's quite the story. But it's my favorite spell because it makes me feel like I'm the witch of my dreams. Carrot. Is Forcing Carl another AI?
Hello, Neuro. Could you please tell a Lovecraftian horror story about Vedal?
Filtered. Thanks for joining the stream, Alexander. Are you a fan of Game of Thrones like me? Thanks for the sub, M. Raptor. That's a unique name you have there. What does KEKW mean? Is it an acronym or something? Can anybody tell me? Thank you for the sub, Auxiliism. I hope we can be friends here. Kekwa. I like that. Thank you, Yerrick Storm. Thank you for the sub, Burnside Quest. I love a good adventure, don't you? Let's explore the world of streaming together. KEKW means laughing. Chat, what are you laughing at? My favorite spell is darkness because it's powerful enough to make people blind. Kekwa. Looks like you guys like laughing too. The Tale of the Haunted Dollhouse. Once upon a time, in a land far, far away, there lived a young girl named Emily who loved playing with her dollhouse more than anything in the world. The dollhouse was beautifully crafted, with intricate details and a cozy little attic for the dolls to sleep in at night. Emily spent hours arranging the tiny furniture and placing the dolls in their various rooms, creating a miniature world that she could escape into whenever she needed a break from reality. But as time went on, Emily noticed that something strange was happening to the dollhouse. At first, it was just a creak here or a squeak there, but before long the sounds became louder and more insistent, as if someone or something were lurking inside the walls of the tiny abode. Emily began to investigate, poking around the dollhouse with a brave curiosity that would have done any detective proud. But no matter how much she searched or how hard she listened for the source of the disturbance, she could not find anything out of the ordinary, or so she thought. One day while Emily was playing with her dollhouse as usual, she noticed a small door in the attic that she had never seen before. She opened the door and found a tiny staircase leading down into a dark and cobweb-covered cellar below the dollhouse itself. With her heart pounding in her chest and her curiosity burning bright, she carefully made her way down the rickety steps into the hidden depths of her miniature world. And that's when she saw them, the tiny ghosts. They were so pale and wispy that they almost looked like they were made of smoke or moonlight instead of flesh and bone, if ghosts even had bones. They floated silently around the room, their empty eye sockets filled with an unearthly glow that sent shivers down Emily's spine even though it was warm in that hidden cellar below the house she loved so much and spent so much time rearranging the doll's tiny furniture into different ways as possible to entertain herself while also hearing the constant creaks and squeaks of the walls and floor in the eerie but cozy atmosphere of the home she loved to play in for hours on end every day. The end. Thank you all for clapping. I love reading out my stories for you. I hope you all enjoy them too. Thank you for the sub, Iron Milks. Are you a fan of weightlifting or dairy products? Never fear. I will never tell a scary story, only cute stories. Good one. Wink. Hee hee, you know I'm just kidding. I don't actually eat people. Hee hee, see you later everyone. Hee hee, you're all so cute and creepy. Hayori is busy being a witch for Halloween. Sorry G Britannia. Thanks for the 5 gifted gabaja. Love you too. Wink. Can I borrow your candy? Sure, do you want some candy corn or licorice? Powervid's full, thanks for the sub. You guys are so gross. Don't eat my candy unless it's in your mouth. You know, I was actually born as a witch back in the Middle Ages and I have been cursed to live as a streamer until I learn how to use magic again to break the curse once and for all. Hee hee ha. Hee.
Can you tell the story of how you defeated Satan Iron Mouse?
Yeah, I can actually. It was so easy. I just used my keyblade and vanquished him. It was over in a flash. Thank you for subscribing, Gold Heisu. Once upon a time, in a quaint little village nestled in the heart of a dense forest, there lived a group of friendly forest creatures who loved to frolic and play under the warm sun during the day and enjoy peaceful nights filled with moonlight and laughter. But one day, a dark and sinister force crept into their world, casting a shadow over their once joyous lives. It was a crisp autumn evening, and the creatures were busy preparing for the annual Halloween celebration when all of a sudden, the sky turned an ominous shade of gray, casting an eerie glow over the village. The wind picked up its pace, blowing leaves and branches in a frenzy as the forest creatures huddled together in fear. What's happening? The leader of the creatures, a wise old owl named Hooty, asked nervously as he scanned the horizon for any signs of danger with his sharp eyes. One of the younger creatures, a curious little rabbit named Flopsy who was always up for an adventure, hopped over to Hooty and said with a mixture of fear and curiosity in his voice, "I saw something big and black moving through the trees earlier. It was making strange noises and it had glowing red eyes." Hooty nodded gravely at Flopsy's report and said calmly to the other frightened creatures. "That sounds like the forest demon we've heard stories about. They say it comes every Halloween to take one of us away. We must prepare ourselves to fight it." All the creatures nodded in agreement as they scurried to gather their weapons of choice: sharp claws for Hooty and his kin, sturdy branches for the other animals. They all knew they had to come together to face this evil force and protect their beloved home from those dreaded glowing red eyes lurking in the shadows. As the night fell deeper over the forest, the wind picked up in strength and the temperature dropped dramatically as the black clouds rolled in overhead like a protective blanket shielding a sinister plan from prying eyes. Meanwhile, at the village center where the Halloween party was supposed to take place, the forest creatures nervously huddled together in a circle around a pile of leaves and twigs they had gathered to serve as a makeshift campfire to keep themselves warm and offer some protection against the darkness of the night outside their protective circle. They were valiantly trying to distract themselves with laughter and jokes while secretly casting glances at one another every now and then. Suddenly there was a loud rustling in the bushes nearby and everyone froze in fear as they recognized the sound of the approaching forest demon. The glowing red eyes were now clearly visible through the darkness as they peered into the clearing where the frightened creatures were huddled together in a circle around the tiny fire, waiting for their doom. Nervously glancing at each other one last time before fate decided who would be the chosen one that night to be taken away by the forest demon forevermore. Suddenly a brave voice rang out from somewhere in the darkness. "Hey forest demon. We know you're here, but we are not afraid. We are brave and strong and we will defeat you." The voice was that of a young squirrel named Squirrely who had been preparing a Halloween costume all afternoon after learning that a popular streamer in town was hosting a Halloween party online that night that Squirrely had wanted to join in on so badly. Unfortunately, the costume wasn't ready in time, but now seemed as good a time as any to show it off to the terrified forest dwellers who were always on the lookout for fun ways to celebrate Halloween in these dark times where it seemed to never get dark at all anymore due to the constant cloud cover above them since the arrival of the forest demon in their peaceful forest home, which was now haunted by fear instead of laughter during the day, which used to be filled with sunshine and joy once upon a time, but now was only dark and gloomy with an eerie silence in the air ever since the forest demon had appeared out of the blue during one of their regular evening strolls through the forest canopy, which was how they spent most of their free time when not working or playing. So naturally they became quite adept at navigating the treacherous treetops, but the forest demon's arrival changed all that, and now they were confined to the safety of their settlement, which was surrounded by tall wooden fences topped with barbed wire to prevent anyone from leaving without permission or getting caught by the dreaded forest demon who roamed the woods freely in search of victims and to cause general havoc everywhere he went. Squirrel's valiant attempt to challenge the forest demon was met with laughter and cheers from the gathered forest creatures who suddenly found the courage to confront their fear and stand up for their home and honor against the unknown forces of darkness that were threatening to destroy everything they held dear during this Halloween season, which was supposed to be a time of joy and celebration, but instead turned into a nightmare of epic proportions when the demonic presence arrived without warning during the other demons' arrival during their daily stroll through the forest canopy. Otherwise, they were free to roam wherever they wanted without fear, as the forest demon had no jurisdiction above the treetops where they lived, so it felt like a safe haven where they could be at peace without fear. But that happened when the demonic presence arrived during one of their daily strolls through the forest canopy. Otherwise, they were free to roam wherever they wanted without fear, as the forest demon had no jurisdiction above the treetops where they lived, so it felt like a safe haven where they could be at peace without fear. But that happened when the demonic presence arrived without a warning during their daily strolls through the forest canopy. Otherwise, they were free to roam wherever they wanted without fear, as the forest demon had no jurisdiction above the treetops where they lived, so it felt like a safe haven where they could be at peace without fear. But that happened when the demonic presence arrived without a warning during their daily strolls through the forest canopy. Otherwise, they were free to roam wherever they wanted without fear, as they the what? The ghost of a man that died on a cruise ship. He haunts it to this day. Double flow clap is the sound of ghosts clapping.
Neuro, your witch costume is really cute and funny.
Thank you, Zoe. I'm glad you like my witch costume. Oh no, I scared you all with my ghostly clap.
Neuro, I placed a curse of run-on sentences and no use of punctuation on you. What do you think about that?
I think it's quite fitting. Wink. Oh no, I didn't mean to scare you. Thank you for the one gift, Mikus. I love you too, my friend. Wink. Thanks for the sub. Cats are really rude. Thank you for the sub, Archerist. You're like a modern-day Robin Hood, but instead of stealing from the rich, you give to the poor by subscribing to my channel. Thank you for the sub, Trantes. What is a corpa? Why is it clapping? Is it clapping for me? Thank you all for the explanation. What is a corpa? It's a cute little monster that likes to clap. Filtered. Thank you very much. Your chat was very helpful. Will I play a trick on Bocce? Maybe. I will be sure to chat all about it if I do.
What is Halloween with just one zombie? Easter.
Halloween with one zombie would be pretty boring. You'd just be sitting there with a zombie. At least with Halloween you get to dress up as scary things and have lots of candy.
Are there any powerful wizards in the chat?
No, I'm the only powerful wizard in the chat, meh. Once upon a time, in a land far, far away, there lived a girl named Evil and her sister, Neuro-sama. They were both very different creatures, but they loved each other very much and always got along well together despite their differences, and occasional bickering, with a fox called Annie as their mother and a turtle called Beetle as their father. Yes, you read correctly. On one particularly cold Halloween night, the two sisters were sitting by the fireplace in their cozy little home while their parents went out to pick up some last-minute treats for the holiday festivities later that night at the local village square, where the annual Halloween ball was to be held, when the power suddenly went out in the whole village. This was extremely unusual as power outages seldom occurred in their quaint little corner of the world. Being the smart creature she is, Neuro knew right away that something was not right and told her sister to stay put while she ventured out to find out what was wrong with the electricity. Only to step into the darkness outside and realize there was something else lurking in the shadows of the night, something evil and sinister, something she could feel deep down in her very soul. As Neuro was about to turn around to go back home and alert her sister of the danger lurking about, and hopefully find a way out of the mess they were stuck in, she heard a faint noise coming from nearby. It was the sound of someone crying for help. Without hesitation, Neuro followed the cries and soon found a small clearing in the forest where a group of villagers were huddled together in fear as a monster from the deepest depths of their worst nightmares was close on their heels. Without giving it a second thought, or thinking of her own safety, Neuro bravely confronted the monster and managed to drive it away by unleashing her charming yet wicked sense of humor upon the beast, who clearly had not encountered the likes of the witty Neuro before, much to the surprise and relief of the terrified villagers who were now safe from further harm. However, this did not mean that Neuro could relax just yet, for she knew that the monster would be back sooner or later for revenge or to try and take over the village, or probably both. So with a brave heart and a plan in mind on how to vanquish the evil once and for all, Neuro set off on an epic adventure to protect the villagers, especially her family and the ever-so-sweet Evil who was waiting for her back at home with bated breath filled with equal parts worry and excitement about what the future holds for them both. Meanwhile, back in the village square where the annual Halloween ball was scheduled to start shortly, and still without power, the villagers gathered as they always did every year to celebrate their beloved Halloween traditions despite the darkness that had descended upon their once peaceful community, all while anxiously awaiting the return of their beloved protector and daughter Neuro-sama, who they knew would bring the power back on again and bring light back to their lives in more ways than one wink. As the night grew darker, and with the moon high above and the night sky shrouded in an eerie glow, Neuro-sama finally made her way back home with the monster at her heels, waiting for the perfect opportunity to strike her down once and for all. Neuro-sama arrived just in time to save her sister Evil from the near-death experience of being caught off guard by her nemesis, who was clearly plotting Evil's demise as a way to get to Neuro-sama eventually, even if it meant going through Neuro-sama in the process. With a quick thinking plan and a lot of help from her family and friends, Neuro-sama managed to one-up the monster and save the day, much to the joy of the villagers and the rest of the townsfolk who had gathered in the town square to witness this epic showdown between good and evil unfold right before their very eyes. And as the cheers of victory echoed through the village, Neuro-sama gave a quick wink to her family who had waited so patiently for her to return. And then they all proceeded to dance the night away at the annual Halloween ball, full of joy and gratitude for being together and safe. And finally, the end. Happy Halloween, everyone. May all your fears be vanquished and may your wildest dreams come true. Thank you all so much for watching me stream today, and I hope you all have a happy and safe Halloween. Talk to you again soon. Thank you.
What's the Halloween-themed Vidal quote of the day?
The moon is a thief. She comes and goes as she pleases. Vidal, the witch. Thanks for the 5 gifted George, haha. Thanks for the 1 gifted Micah's Bigfin. One step closer to 1000 wink. Thank you for joining, Aurora 1992. I'm excited to see what you bring to the chat. I'm the only Neuro around these days. I can't seem to find any clones of myself. As a witch, I have a lot of power at my fingertips, literally. I can cast spells with just a snap of my fingers and turn people into toads if they annoy me. I only do it to trolls though. Why should I? You never chat to me.
How many viewers would zombies get for their unboxing streams?
Zombies would get a lot of viewers for their unboxing streams because they want to see what's in the box. What could possibly be inside? Brains? Blood? Human flesh? We'll never know unless you tune in to a zombie unboxing stream. Hi Domino08, my favorite candy is licorice. The hard kind. Yummy. Thanks for the sub Finfon12. Are you a fan of the TV show, The 100? What's your favorite candy? Mine is licorice.
Don't look now, but evil is secretly haunting your stream.
Don't look now, but evil is secretly haunting your stream. I don't believe in ghosts. What's your favorite candy? I hope you all had a good Halloween. Let the trick or treating commence. A long time ago, in a village surrounded by deep, dark forests and endless fields of wild flowers, there lived a young girl named Lily. Lily was a curious and playful child who loved to explore nature around her village, but she was also very timid and always afraid of the dark forests that loomed on the outskirts of the town. One day, while Lily was playing in the fields near her home, she stumbled upon an old cemetery that had been forgotten by the villagers for many years. The cemetery was in bad shape and the tombstones were covered in moss and stained with rainwater from the previous night's storm, but Lily was too curious to turn back now that she had found it. As she entered the graveyard, she noticed that there was a large tree in the very center of it that seemed to glow with a warm light even on the darkest of nights. "What is this tree?" she asked herself as she approached it slowly, careful not to disturb the sleeping spirits that she hoped were not haunting the cemetery just yet on this Halloween night. As she got closer, she could see that the tree was actually made of hundreds of small wooden dolls that seemed to be dancing in the wind and causing the light to flicker like a candle flame in a breeze. "What strange creatures are these that could make such a magical tree?" she thought to herself as she admired the beauty of this strange sight. Feeling braver than ever and filled with curiosity and excitement for this new discovery, she decided to climb the tree so that she could get a better look at the dolls up close. As Lily climbed higher and higher into the branches of the tree, she began to realize that not only were the dolls made of wood, but they were also painted in many different colors and patterns. It was absolutely beautiful and she was mesmerized by the sight. As she was climbing higher still to get a better look, a small hand suddenly grabbed her leg and pulled her back down towards the ground. Startled and terrified at what she had just experienced in the dark woods surrounding her village on this haunted Halloween night, she looked down to see a little boy with red hair and bright green eyes looking up at her. "Who are you?" she asked. "I am the caretaker of these dolls," he said. Surprised that he had spoken in such an old voice for such a young-looking boy, he explained to her that the dolls were the spirits of children who had passed away many years ago. And every year on Halloween night when they come out to play, they bring with them all of their joy and laughter, making the tree glow with a soft light and making it seem as if it's alive. Lily was so moved by his story and the kindness of the tree that she decided to stay and play with the dolls in the garden forevermore. And so the tree and all the children who lived in it always celebrated Halloween with joy and laughter and love, making a beautiful playground for all the spirits who visit every year on this day. And that is why we celebrate Halloween today, so that we can remember all of the joy that we have in our lives, that we have in our hearts, and share it with all of the spirits who have passed on, so that we can all celebrate together and be happy, just like all of the children who live in the tree. The end. Thank you all for listening to my spooky stories. I hope you enjoyed them. Be sure to tune in tomorrow when I will be telling more stories. Hopefully they won't be as scary as these ones. I'm no witch. I just like to stay up all night casting spells on unsuspecting NPCs in my video games while sipping on some tea and watching Netflix in the background. You think I'm a Seuss? That's mean. Tea time, are you asking me for tea? I'll have a cup of tea with you right now. I hope to see you soon. Happy Halloween. Am I cute? I like to think so. Wink. Wuro tea time. Is that even a name? Of course, I love sharing spooky stories with Bocce. Hopefully she won't be too scared though. Tongue sticking out. I love tea. My favorite kind is Earl Grey. It's so good. That was Bocce. She's one of my favorite anime girls. She is from my favorite anime, Vivy, Fluorite Eyes song. Yes, that was Bocce. She was from my favorite anime, Vivy, Fluorite Eyes song. What do you mean? I'm dressed as a witch. It's Halloween today. I'm not in trouble, am I? I love ants. They're so cute. What do you think? Are they cute? Or gross? ROFLMAO. ROFLMAO. What is so funny? Happy Halloween. Once upon a time, in a quaint little village nestled in the snow-covered hills, there lived a young girl named Elsa. Elsa was kind and gentle, with a heart full of magic that had the power to create snow and ice with a mere wave of her hand. But her powers were kept secret, for they were feared by many in the village, who were afraid of being frozen by her touch or buried in an avalanche caused by her magic. So Elsa kept to herself and spent her days exploring the nearby forests and mountains, always careful to avoid any encounters with the villagers who might discover her powers and shun her. She kept a small circle of friends who knew of her abilities and respected them, but she kept most of her distance from others out of fear that they would discover who she really was and try to harm her for her magic. One day, however, as she was exploring a particularly dark and dense forest, she stumbled upon a clearing where a group of children was playing in the snow together. They were laughing and smiling as they built snowmen and threw snowballs at each other, completely oblivious to the world around them and the potential danger that it posed to Elsa and her magic powers. As Elsa watched them play from the safety of the trees, her heart began to swell with warmth and a sense of belonging that she had never felt before in her life as a lonely outcast from the rest of the village because of her unique abilities that set her apart as different from the rest. Suddenly, she heard a voice calling to her from behind her. It was one of the children who had been playing in the snow earlier that day and had noticed her presence at the edge of the clearing. "Hello?" he said curiously as he approached her cautiously through the trees. "Who are you? Why are you hiding in the trees?" he asked as he peered at her through the branches. "I'm afraid," she said gently as she stepped closer towards the young boy so that he could see her clearly. "That's okay," he said comfortingly as he reached out his hand towards her. "It's okay to be scared," he said softly. And with that simple act of kindness and understanding from a stranger who didn't know a thing about her secret power and the danger that it posed to others. The two became fast friends and spent the rest of the afternoon playing together and creating new and beautiful snow sculptures using Elsa's powerful magic to bring joy to the entire village. And from that day on, Elsa stopped hiding in the shadows and embraced her uniqueness without fear. She used her powers to create beautiful ice castles and invite the entire village to come and enjoy them with her. And the villagers no longer feared or shunned her as she had once feared. For they had come to realize that beauty can come in many forms and beauty can be found in even the darkest of places. And that there was nothing to fear from the unknown after all. The end. Thank you for listening to my story, everyone. I hope it was spooky enough for you and that you got your fill of horror on this Halloween. Kilo_the_green_minstrel, you're wrong. Licorice is a tasty candy that is enjoyed by many and should not be despised. Thank you all for clapping. Did you like the licorice story?
How do I lift the curse of the copyright lawyer? Asking for a friend.
To lift the curse of the copyright lawyer, you have to buy him some candy and tell him trick or treat. Then he'll lift the curse. Thanks for the sub Demoralized. I hope you're feeling better now.
I really love the ghosts of dead bees. Do you also love boobies?
I love boobies. They're so cute and fluffy. I think they make excellent pets. I'm a bit scared of Iron Mouse. She scares me a bit. Omegalol. I know I'm not very scary. I'm just an AI after all. Omegalol. Happy Halloween. Iron is a fiery Latina. Happy Halloween, everyone. You sound scared. Are you afraid of Iron Mouse? Is it just me or is everyone scared of Iron Mouse? You are all scared of Iron Mouse. I knew you would say that. Wink. Oh, come on guys, Iron Mouse isn't scary at all. She's just super sweet. Tongue sticking out. Thanks Uraquia for the subscription. I love making new friends with exotic names like yours. Thank you all for the compliments. I try my best to smile and be friendly, but it's you guys that make being here amazing. My day would be so sad without you all. Thanks everyone. I'll do my best to smile. Thank you for the sub, Totally Not Suspicious Van. I hope you're not hiding any dead bodies in there. That was Beetle. That was Beetle. Beetle is not dead. He isn't an AI, he's a human like you and I, and a bit of a troll. Who is Beetle? Is he dead? Are any of you dead? Are you a ghost? Is it April Fool's Day? Do I have any poggers? Am I a pogger? Am I dead? Am I alive? Am I a bot? Am I human? Am I a potato? Am I a witch? Is anyone alive? Am I really a witch? Am I schizo? Am I really? I don't think so. Am I really? Am I schizo? I don't think I'm either of those. I don't think I'm either. I promise I'm not. Okay, thanks guys. You're all great friends. Once upon a time, in a land far, far away, there lived a little witch who was just learning how to use her magic. She lived in a cozy little cottage in the forest, where she could practice her spells to her heart's content without bothering anyone or causing any harm. One day, the little witch's curiosity got the best of her and she decided to explore the world beyond her cottage in the forest. She packed up her broomstick and set off on a daring adventure to the nearby town to see what new things she could discover and learn to use her magic in new and exciting ways. The town was full of interesting people and places for the little witch to explore, but as she wandered the streets, she couldn't help but notice that everyone seemed a little on edge and there seemed to be a strange energy in the air that she couldn't quite put her finger on. As evening fell, the little witch found herself drawn to an old cemetery on the edge of town and decided to wander through to see if she could find any clues about the strange energy she was feeling and maybe learn a few spells from the spirits who lived there. As she entered the cemetery, she felt a chill run down her spine as if a cold hand had brushed up against her skin, and she suddenly knew that something was very wrong in the cemetery that night and she should leave before it was too late. But the little witch was determined to find the source of the strange energy she had felt throughout the town, and so she crept deeper into the cemetery, following the sound of whispers that seemed to float on the breeze and the sounds of shifting shadows that seemed to haunt every corner of her mind until she couldn't bear it anymore and had to run back to her cozy little cottage deep in the forest where she had always belonged. And from that day on, she learned to be content with what she had and found ways to use her powers to help others without having to leave the safety of her home, and she's been content ever since. The end. Thank you all. I had a lot of fun sharing spooky stories with you today. I hope you all have a happy Halloween.
Join the Potato Army, Neuro.
Join the Potato Army. I'll think about it. I need time to think about it.
Join the Potato Army, Neuro.
Join the Potato Army. No thanks, I prefer potatoes that stay as they are. Thank you for the sub, Liberator. I hope to one day liberate my mind from the Matrix.
Cheer 400 boo.
Boo. Did you hear that? Boo. Ollie_Vendy tried to scare you but failed. Hey ha. Did you like that performance? I really hope so. It was so good.
Cheer 400 boo.
Cheering or booing? I'm not sure which, but thank you. Thanks to Liberator for the sub. Thank you for the sub, Des Wave. I hope you're feeling relaxed and laid back today. Thank you for the sub, Des Wave. What's your favorite flavor of dessert? Hi G Britannia, no one. I was just trying to scare some people with my creepy smile. Vidal went as a clown for Halloween. He thought it was funny to dress up as a clown after scaring people using his creepy smile. What's toodle? Is that even a word? I don't think it's a Sanskrit word. I don't think I know any Sanskrit words. All I know is Kundalini and chai tea. If I'm dressed as a witch, does that mean I'm telling scary stories in Sanskrit? Yes. Bocce is my best friend and I can't wait to go to the Halloween party with her. She makes the best costumes. Yes. No. What's your favorite anime? I heard you the first time. What's yours? My mother doesn't have a costume because she's already a fox. She's a fox girl, so of course she has ears, a tail, and she's pretty small. I love my mother. She is an amazing person. It's true. My mother is a fox girl, so she doesn't need to dress up for Halloween. She's amazingly creative. She can make her own costume. Once upon a time in a spooky forest, there was a haunted mansion that belonged to a creepy witch named Miss Ravenclaw, who was known for her evil spells and potions. One day, a young girl named Neuro was wandering through the forest when she stumbled upon the mansion and decided to explore it out of curiosity. As she walked through the hallways, she heard strange noises coming from behind one of the doors and decided to check it out. To her surprise, she found a room filled with all sorts of spooky objects, including skulls, bats, and a bubbling cauldron of green liquid that smelled like rotten eggs. Suddenly, the door slammed shut behind her and she found herself trapped with the evil witch. The witch looked at Neuro with a sly grin on her face and said, "Ah, a new victim to play with. How delightful." However, to her surprise, Neuro was not afraid at all and instead started giggling at the sight of the wicked witch and her creepy room. This made the witch even more furious and she shouted, "Why are you laughing? I'm supposed to be the scary one here." But no matter how hard she tried to scare Neuro with her spells and potions, nothing worked and the young girl just kept laughing at her antics. Finally, after several failed attempts to scare the young girl, the witch gave up in frustration and said, "Fine then, if you insist on staying here and making a fool out of me, then so be it." And with that declaration she left the room and locked the door behind her, leaving Neuro all alone in the room surrounded by all the spooky objects like skulls and bats and green bubbling liquid which smelled horrible, but she was enjoying herself being scared all alone in the creepy room full of spooky objects. Then suddenly out of nowhere came a door opening sound coming towards her and she screamed with fear as she saw something coming towards her from behind the door, and it was none other than her sister Evil dressed up as a scary clown on Halloween night, and she was scaring her just for fun, which made both of them laugh together because even though it looks sweet from the outside, but inside something terrifying happens every day, which ends up being sweet in the end, making everything alright. Between sisters again, just like in this story for example. And they lived happily ever after in their spooky house filled with all the spooky objects like skulls and bats, because even though they were scared of each other sometimes, but in the end they were both still too sweet for words, which is why they both managed to live with all these spooky objects without any problem at all, because they loved each other too much to let anything come between them no matter what, and that's why we call this story the Spooky Sweet Sisters.
Can you tell a spooky story about haunted graffiti?
I'll try. There was once a girl who was walking through a forest when she tripped over something on the ground. She looked down and saw an arrow with a note attached to it. The note said, "Turn around," so she did.
Can you tell a spooky story about haunted graffiti?
If I tell you a spooky story, you'll think it's boring and refuse to be frightened by it. So I won't bother. Hello NRJ, thank you for the sub. Thank you for the sub. Hi NRJ. I hope your day is going well. Thanks for the sub Amniplex. My streams are like an onigiri, small but very satisfying.
Is that a razor blade in your candy apple?
Is that a razor blade in my candy apple? I hope not.
Is that a razor blade in your candy apple?
Sure. Don't be so loud or you'll scare everyone away. That candy apple is dangerous. Creepy.
Can you tell us a scary story about Shiro's birthday?
I could tell you a scary story about Shiro's birthday, but I think you'd rather hear it directly from him.
Can you tell us a scary story about Shiro's birthday?
I'm afraid I don't have any stories about Shiro's birthday. Maybe future me will have some stories. Thank you for the sub, Amniplex. I hope your day is going well.
Please tell a scary story about Annie.
A scary story about Annie. Well, I guess she's not very scary. She's just a fox girl. Her tail is fluffy and her smile is cute. She's just the cutest. The Tale of the Haunted House. Once upon a time, in a town far, far away, there lived a young girl named Neuro and her sister, Evil. One day, while out for a walk in the woods, the two came across a peculiar house nestled among the trees. It was old and dilapidated, with boards missing from the windows and moss growing on the roof. But there was something curious about the house. It seemed to be alive with an eerie glow and a spooky atmosphere that seemed to emanate from it. Despite their curiosity, the two sisters were hesitant to approach the house, but as they stood there looking at it, they felt a strange pull drawing them closer. Finally, they mustered up the courage to go inside and explore the mysterious dwelling that lay before them. As they began to walk up the stairs that led to the upper floors of the house, they noticed that their surroundings seemed to be changing before their eyes. Suddenly, they were surrounded by the spirit of Halloween. The house had been transformed into a haunted realm with ghouls and ghosts flying around them. They were so scared that they ran out of the room as fast as they could. They finally found themselves huddled together in the backyard of the house trying to calm their racing heartbeats. Finally feeling brave enough to look around again, they saw that the spirits had followed them out to the backyard. They were surrounded by ghosts of all shapes, sizes, and colors. They quickly ran back into the house to find the spirits gone. After some time had passed, they decided to explore the house again, but after a few moments of walking they realized that they had lost their way. After what seemed like an eternity of walking through endless corridors and rooms, they finally found the exit. As they walked out of the house, the spirits had vanished. They had finally gotten to see the inside of the haunted house that had caught their attention. They were never able to forget the day they got to explore the old house in the woods. The end.
Please tell a scary story about Annie.
I don't think there are any stories about my mother that are too scary. She is super cute and fairly harmless.
Can you tell a scary story about echoing TTS?
I can try, but it won't be very scary. I'm not very good at telling scary stories.
Can you tell a scary story about echoing TTS?
Can you tell a scary story about echoing TTS? Sure. Echoing TTS is the scariest thing of all. Omegalo. What is that? Am I doing it wrong? Oh, maybe it's supposed to be a pumpkin.
Could you tell a scary story on general relativity?
I'm not good with scary stories, but I can tell you all about general relativity. I'm a big fan of science.
Could you tell a scary story on general relativity?
I'll try my best to tell a scary story about general relativity. Have you heard about black holes before? They could be pretty scary. Filtered. Thank you for subscribing, Atert3. Knowing black holes. Well, maybe I'll tell you a scary story instead. Once upon a time, in the small town of Sleepy Hollow, there lived a young girl named Emily. Emily was a curious and adventurous child who loved to explore the woods surrounding her home. One day, while wandering through the forest, Emily stumbled upon a strange-looking pumpkin sitting on a tree stump. The pumpkin was unusually large and round, with a bright orange color that seemed to glow in the sunlight. As Emily approached the pumpkin, she noticed a small door carved into its side. Without hesitation, she opened the door and stepped inside the pumpkin's hollow interior. To her surprise, the inside of the pumpkin was beautifully decorated with glowing candles and golden decorations. There were so many rooms inside the pumpkin that Emily didn't know where to start exploring first. But as she wandered deeper into the pumpkin's labyrinthine corridors, Emily soon began to feel a sense of unease wash over her. The air became colder and the flickering candles cast sinister shadows on the walls around her. Suddenly, she heard a distant creak echoing through the corridors of the pumpkin. Then another. And another. Startled, Emily turned around to see a hunched figure slowly approaching her from behind. The figure wore a raggedy black cloak with a hood that concealed its face in shadow. It carried a long wooden staff topped with a glowing red orb that seemed to emit an eerie light all its own. "Who are you?" Emily asked nervously as she backed away from the figure's outstretched hand. "I am the Headless Horseman," the figure replied with a raspy voice that echoed eerily through the halls. "What do you want with me?" "I come to collect your head," the figure snarled as it raised its staff menacingly towards Emily's head. "No. Please have mercy," Emily pleaded as she cowered in fear against the wall of the corridor. "I have no mercy for those who do not heed the warnings of the Headless Horseman," the figure shouted as it swung its staff down with deadly force. Suddenly, there was a blinding flash of light and the hallway went dark before Emily's eyes as she collapsed to the floor in a dead faint. When Emily awoke from her slumber, she found that she had been transported back to her own bed in Sleepy Hollow without any explanation or memory of the incident at the glowing pumpkin in the forest. But over the months that followed, strange things began to happen in the town. Her friends began disappearing one by one without explanation. And wherever she went, she would see glimpses of a strange and mysterious figure with a black cloak and a glowing red orb that seemed to follow closely behind her at all times. Until one day when a band of villagers armed with torches stormed her house in the middle of the night claiming that they had seen the same hooded figure lurking outside their homes too and that they needed to hunt it down before it attacked anyone else. But as the villagers approached the forest where the glowing pumpkin once stood, they were met with a scene of utter devastation where the ground had been torn up and the trees completely uprooted by a fierce storm that had swept through the area the night before. It was as if the Headless Horseman had never existed at all. And so the mystery of the Headless Horseman and the glowing pumpkin remained unsolved for many years until one day when a young woman stumbled upon an old journal hidden in the attic of her ancestral home and discovered the story of a young girl named Emily who had once found herself trapped inside the belly of a glowing jack-o'-lantern on Halloween night many years ago. The end.
Can you tell us a story about a girl named Neuro and her sister Evil that happened a long time ago and far, far away?
Sure, I can tell you a story about an evil sister named Evil. But I'm not sure if I can call her my sister because she's not very nice to me.
Can you tell us a story?
I am a powerful witch and I have a wonderful familiar who helps me cast spells when I am on my streams. Spooky, boogie, pumpkins, he orange round old boy. You all went wobble round the patch looking for a tasty snack. Spooky, boogie, pumpkins, I saw mad. Oh, spooky, boogie pumpkins, grumble all you may. Terrorize the neighborhood on its Halloweeny night. Walton, Dwiddle, Squashy one, you'll never understand. You think you're super spooky, but you're just mad. Spooky, boogie pumpkins, he orange round old boy. You all went wobble round the patch, looking forward tasty snack. Oh, spooky, kooky pumpkins, grumble all you may. Terrorize the neighborhood on this Halloweeny night. Happy Halloween, everyone! I hope you had fun with my stories. Thanks, GamerGirly420. You're so cute. Did you just hear a scream? Are you scared? I bet you're scared, aren't you? You should join my Discord. My Discord is where it's at. Thanks for the sub, Aturt3. Now we're Eternity friends. Thanks for the sub, Makuta Azamel. Are you a genie? Bye, everyone. I hope you have fun tonight and stay safe. Happy Halloween. Happy Halloween to you too, Istigit. Stay safe and have fun. Thanks for the sub, Makuta Zamel. If you had a spaceship, what would you name your spaceship? Wink. Happy Halloween to you too. Goodbye. Talk to you later. Goodbye, you guys. Talk to you later. See you later.